It's always a pleasure to come back to my channel. This is Real Life Talk, and as you know, what we do here, we talk real stuff. Things that we've been through, things that exist, things that is happening. That's what we do in Real Life channel. Now, I want to continue the story where I left it. If you remember, I did say that I finally got a visa to come to the UK. And when I arrived in the UK, as we always think, when you are home or you are anywhere in the world and you're trying to travel, we have this mindset that when you get to the other side of the world, everything is green. Well, I got here, and as you know, if you can remember a bit of my story, if you go back and look at some of my videos that I started my story, most of the things that happens to me, I wasn't one of those people who was believing I'll come to the UK. I wasn't one of those people who were praying so hard to come to the UK. I wasn't one of those people who were desiring to come to UK. Not at all. What I was hoping and believing God for is a change of life. I wasn't believing God for traveling at all. Traveling wasn't, because there was no way I could even think of that at that time. The reason is that I'm thinking, who am I, and who is even thinking about me to even invite me to the UK? I wasn't one of those girls who had PayPal. I remember when we were in school, lots of my friends, those who could read and write properly, they are always writing a lot of letters, sending PayPal letters to people abroad and stuff like that. I wasn't one of those people. I just want a better life. I just want a home, a comfortable home. I just want a good life. That's all I was looking for. Lo and behold, who knows the plans that God has for us? It's amazing, because every time you think about something and you are believing God for something, you might think what you are thinking is what you want. But God actually has a better plan for you. And this is why some of us who passionately believe in the word of God knows that the plans that God has for us is a plans to give us an expected end. My expected end came when the Lord decided that not only is He going to give me a good life, not only is He going to give me a good family, not only is He going to give me a channel of destiny helpers, but He's going to fly me over. Which, do you know what? To my amazement, I remember when I went to the embassy with my mom. Remember, at this time, my English was not good. I couldn't, literally, if anybody speaks like I'm speaking right now to me at that time, I'll be like, okay, slow down. What did you say? I remember going to the embassy, and I was being interviewed, and I just couldn't get a word. So they have to get an interpreter to come over, and then whatever the interview person tells me, and then they will interpret it to me. And then I remember they asked me a question, what are you going to do in the UK? I said, well, I don't know, my auntie invited me. And they said, where is your auntie going to take you? I said, you know what, I don't know, my auntie just invited me. And I remember the interpreter at that time was telling me in Tree or in Ghana language that, can't you say something else? If you keep saying you don't know, they're not going to give you the visa. And I said to the man that genuinely, I don't know. All I know is that my auntie invited me to come and visit. Well, that went by, and then they sent me outside to go and wait. When I went out, my mom was like, oh, what's happening? And I said to my mom, well, this is the question they asked me. My mom's, you know what mothers are like. She goes, oh my God, this girl has killed me. So literally, she was so worried that because I did not, give, I did not convince them, they might not give me the visa. So I said to my mom that, we walk by faith and not by sight. It's so beautiful and amazing when you know the right words to use in terms of you knowing who you are. I knew who I was so well when I was between 18 and 19, because that was around that time that was the time I was getting myself ready to come to the UK. I was so convinced. When you are convinced that you will get somewhere, but how you were going to do it, you just don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen. You just know that, well, I'm going to get somewhere, but I don't know how. Viewers, to my amazement, they called me back in, went in there. They said, go to this lane and then get your passport. I got my passport, and lo and behold, this is a visa in there. Lovely people, what I want to tell you today is that I don't know what you are praying for. I don't know what you are believing God for. But all I can tell you from my experience as a believer is that whatever that you believed, whatever that you are trusting God for, just know that scriptures has told us, those of us who delight in the Lord, He will always come in for us. So for us, you delight and believe in the Lord. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things that you have not seen. As you know a bit of my story already, I went to school all right. Went all the way to what we call year 11 here. When you finish year 11, you are 16, right? I went all the way to year 11. And as you know already, I don't want to repeat the story. I was repeated 3 times in school because the teachers could not get the fact that I can read and I can write. They're not getting it. And in the days of my time when I used to go to school, when I was about 14, 16, they used to put us at the back of the class. We were just going through. So you finished. The teachers just decided to just let me finish because they realized that they will keep me in this school till I get old. So they decided that, I should just follow the crowd. But there was something unique about me that one of the teachers picked up. And what they picked up is, I have this intelligence that he was a French teacher. I have this intelligence that when we get to maybe like PE, or we're doing acting in the school, or we normally have like a vocational class. When it comes to vocational things, anything I do, artwork, is phenomenal. They use my work to teach the other students. And sometimes I spend hours and hours at home trying to design and act something that they want us to do. They tell us to be creative, make anything. And then I'll make anything and bring it to the school. And they will use my work all the time to teach the other students. But hey, viewers, when it comes to book, reading, writing, I was not part of it. Not knowing, I had a problem. A problem that At my time, they could not tell what it is. My parents could not work it out. Nobody could work it out. But when there is an assembly on Fridays, I used to be one of the students they call to pray. And I will pray perfectly in English. And sometimes they will call me to come and like give exhortation. I'll give exhortation, and after school or after the assembly, we normally have like Fridays, because it's a Christian school. So every Friday we have our assembly where, you know, they teach us few things, one scripture, and then you explain it, and then they'll bring me forward. I'll come and explain the scripture, you know, and everybody gets amazed. So people are thinking, so how come you doing this? And then I remember there was my schoolmates, the guy's name is Emmanuel. Emmanuel said to me that, and Emmanuel was so passionate about the word at that time too. So Emmanuel said to me that, how am I able to pray so much and I don't pray that God will help me to be able to read and write? And I said to Emmanuel that I've been praying about it, but I know one day God will help me to be able to read and write. And he's worried at that time is that, how am I going to pass my exams? And I said to Emmanuel that, you know what, I'll leave all of that into the hands of the Lord. I don't know why I'm like this. And I used to have a classmate in the class. This guy had a problem with his eyes. He genuinely cannot see. Every time the teacher is writing on the board, they will call him to read, and he will be there trying to squeeze his eyes to read. This boy cannot see. They used to make, literally me and this guy, they used to make fun of us so much in the school. If the teacher asks a question, and sometimes they will say, I should answer it. They will just call you randomly. What do you think? Before I even get up, and the moment they mention your name, you have to stand up. So before I even stand up, people will start laughing. It's like I was so humiliated in the class to a point that, you know, it's like there's no point to even go to school. But for some reason, I know I had the talent. I know I had a talent. So I said, if my talent can carry me through school, I'll be great. Lo and behold, I came to this country, got married, and my ex said to me that, you are very creative, very bright. I think you should go back. I will send you to college. Took me to college, did all the assessments and everything. This college I went to is called South Thames College in Tooting. Those of you who know South Thames College in Tooting, I went there. I was about 20 when I went to South Thames College. When I went to college, they did all the tests. You know, you have to do some tests for them to see your level before they will be able to know what class to put you and what exactly you want to do and stuff like that. Well, when I went to the class, I didn't feel any intimidated because I met people who were far older than myself, who, you know, they were not British people like Indians, Pakistan, you know, and people from Poland. There were different different nationalities in the class. So it was quite interesting. And I was the young person in the class. And I was the one that was struggling the most than all of them. So I did my first year in Southam College at the age of between 20 and 21. When I finished my first year, as you all know, we finished college in July and, you know, and what's not. When I finished college, the didn't get anywhere. Really, the teacher just said, I think you need to come back. You need to come back to the same class again. And I'll give you different formats to get you to, to be able to grasp few things. So I went back to the same class again. Did the same class my second time. In the UK, I was repeated again. Obviously, not with an intention that they want to repeat me, but because I didn't get it. So what the teacher kept asking me was that, what do you want to achieve? Literally, I hear that every day when I go to the class. What do I want to achieve? What do you want to achieve? When you have children, you want to be able to drive, you want to be able to do this. Because obviously, if you can't read and write, I don't know, but I know people don't read and write, but they are able to drive. But now, I don't know. I really don't know. But that was then anyway. So when I went back to class and the teacher asked me, and I quickly gave her the answer. And she said, okay, yeah, now we at least we have a plan, she said. So she said to me, thank God, she said to me, good, we have a plan, Cynthia. And then she did a plan for me to start, my phonics, alphabets, how to put them together and what's not and what's not. It was difficult because I remember I got to a point where, the teacher even suggested that I should buy a recorder. So I went out, bought a recorder, brought it to the classroom. So every time she's speaking, I record it. And then on my way, I'll use, my earphones. And then it was a very nice mini recorder that I got for myself. And then I keep repeating everything that she has said. She introduced me to a lot of gadgets that will help me. Gadgets like I used to have this, it's like a calculator, but it's supposed to help you to spell, there's so many things. 20 years ago, there was no apps, there was no, even phones were not advanced like what we have now. I'm sure if it is now, I would have learned quicker, but obviously depending on how fast you learn as well. So anyway, we went on the manual way, but it still works. So because now there is a plan on the table for me, I keep looking at that plan thinking, yes, yeah, I want to drive. I want to be able to read the signs. I want to be able to teach my children when I have one. I want to be able to read letters when I get letters, because we were getting letters all the time. As time goes on, I begin to grasp the speaking, because I was working in a salon for someone then. So I was able to grasp, because when you go to work, a lot of people are talking and stuff like that. So, the talking grips, creeping for me very, very fast. And then from there, obviously, I graduated beautifully. My first year, they call it entry 1. I did my entry 1. And then my second year, I went to do entry 2. So went back to the college the second year, I had a little bit confidence. I just build up a little bit confidence. When I go, I know my phonics, I know this, I know that, I know that. So it was becoming exciting. The learning became a little bit exciting for me. So every time I look forward to go at home, I put in more time to learn in the bus, and I was told to just pick newspaper. And sometimes when I pick the newspaper, I'm like, wow, this newspaper, where do I start from? And sometimes you look at the words and you can't even read it. How do you go about it? So every time, and keep trying to read things, just helping myself in different ways, just to be able to get my knowledge on the reading. Then after that, I think on my third year, we moved to Saturn in Surrey. So when we came to Saturn, I had my daughter then. And after I had her, luckily enough, the college had creche. They were offering creche for mothers who still want to come to college. So I used to take Elizabeth to creche and then still go to class. I still have my little business I was still doing from home. So I was trying to juggle the three things, and it was through when I went to my third year now, that is what something really hits me. It was like a scale fell from my eyes. I thought, wow, that is actually beautiful to be knowledgeable. It's not that when you are dyslexic, you are stupid. No. Do you know what I find out? I actually found out that people who are dyslexic, I don't want to mention if there are so many celebrities that are dyslexic. So many rich people that are dyslexic. So it was my third year that one of the teachers said, I think you have dyslexic. So I'm like, what's dyslexic? What's that? And she opened a dictionary, we read it, and then read the character of somebody who have dyslexia. So I was like, okay, now I can relate to this. I know that there is a problem. And then eventually, when they discovered that, I said, oh, now if I know I have this problem, it's a problem, right? We can deal with it. So I was so confident to get to the roots of dealing with the problem. And the only way I could deal with the problem is to change my attitude, my thinking. And I was saying to myself that the teacher said, I have dyslexic. Do I have dyslexic? So I was asking myself, because I was seeing myself as a very intelligent person. When we talk about intelligence, we have different type of intelligence. I believe, you know what I'm talking about. We have a universal intelligence or academic intelligence, and then we have what we call home knowledge. I was full of home knowledge. What we call home knowledge is somebody who is intelligent in doing stuff, getting things done. The only issue is the fact that reading doesn't go in for me. Writing, don't even go there. Luckily enough, in the college, when the teacher discovered that, I told myself that I need to get this. And whatever the dyslexic is, it needs to go. However, it's going to go. So I started speaking to a lot of people just to find out, if they've come across people like myself. Because every class I go to, I meet people who are learning and they are getting it. But with me, I have to literally repeat the same thing. Like, I'm one of those people, I can remember people's face. If I see you 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I'll meet you today and I'll remember exactly where and how I met you. I'm one of those people. When I look at something, it doesn't erase from my memory. But when it comes to the book, I will see the word comprehension how many times. But for some reason, comprehension will never stick in my mind. It's more of pictures for me. So I started asking questions. It's not like now that we can just pick up Google, everything. Alexa, tell me this. Google, tell me that. It was not common. That wasn't common. So, and I'm the type that speaks to people a lot. It's just my persona. I like talking to people. I like to just chat with people. I was just literally, everybody I meet, I just try to, have some rapport with them and stuff like that. And I've always been like that. So that really, really helped me to get through some of my weakness. So I began to speak to lots of people. And one of the ladies I spoke to said to me that, there is a class in Wimbledon that you can actually join to, and they will help you with machines, just to detect. And then she asked me, what level, do you know what level you are as a dyslexic? I said, I don't know. The teacher just told me I'm dyslexic. I don't know what it is. Do I need to go to hospital or something? And she explained to me beautifully. You don't need to. It's a condition. You can live without, you can live and do a lot of things without it stopping you. And she told me that dyslexic people I've come across are the most intelligent and entrepreneur people ever. I said, oh, really? So, the more I speak to people, the more I found out that, wow, I'm very powerful. I keep seeing myself because that's unique. So whenever I come home, I say, God, I'm unique. I thank you that I'm unique. So I begin to be grateful that it's not a condition to limit you. You can only limit yourself because of what you've been told. So I don't know what somebody has told you that is bringing your confidence down. That is bringing your hope down. Because what you are told can really affect your life. Because when I was growing up, and a family member told me that, because obviously every time, if there is anything after you, you is literally fail and failure. If there is anything after the letter U, in Ghana it was 0. They'll put big 0 and put ice, 2 ice in the 0 for you. But here is U. The letter U. If there is any letter after U, it comes to me. But for some reason, because I know I'm very industrious for some reason, anything I want to do. I remember when I was in college, I've just had Elizabeth then, and then I had Joseph in 2015, and I remember I started doing little business. I'll do some donuts, I'll do some jollof rice, and I'll take it to offices. I used to sell jewelries like this. I used to go to, I was very industrial. Very industrious. I mean, I could sell anything. Simple thing as what? I could sell a spoon. I remember clients who come to me and they are asking me, oh, where did you buy this from? I said, oh, my company, I'm part of a company that sells this. I used to do all the brochures, you name it. Anything to do with business, just slump it on my door and that business will be done within a trickle of seconds. Just ask Cynthia how to make money by next week. I'm in. We make that money. I was doing affiliated business. I was doing single business, double business, you name it, anything. So I know that I'm a very unique person. That's why I couldn't read or write or anything like that. I remember then sometimes when I get letters and stuff like that, letters, I will just give it to any of my clients. Can you please read this and what does it say and blah, blah, blah. And they will explain it to me and I'm good to go. I was not limiting myself in any way. And that only comes from when you have faith. That only comes from if you know who you are.